And we're back once again. Guess who's back? Back again. Clippers in San Francisco taking on the Golden State Warriors from Chase Center. Pregame show starts about 8 minutes from now. If you don't have time to wait, you can always check out the live section at Clippers Talk on YouTube. Did about, I don't know, almost 3 hours of content yesterday for you post game. Little film breakdown. Preview today's game. What's up, Mio? Oh, Mio versus Evil Bot. That's a real rivalry of who can get in first. Blaine Anthony, what's up? Ah, happy birthday, Mio. Yeah, the Clippers do need to get you a victory. Not going to be easy. Golden State has outscored opponents by, I want to say, 77 points the first 2 games of the season. Now, they were the worst 2 teams in the Western Conference. Morning from Australia. Flame Imp. Good morning. How do you say good morning in Australian? It's English. Sorry. Ray, let's go. Blaine, watching from Pennsylvania or a PA system? I'm excited to see how the Clippers react to their first game of the second game of a back-to-back, if you know what I'm saying. Mio said, we got this. Team is riding high, knowing they should be 2-0. You might be right there. Pregame starts in 6 minutes. Ray said he was at the flagship store today and got the LA Gray sweater for the next game. Nice. Let's see here. Gotta make sure I'm actually organized and ready to go myself. There's always revisions every time I look at it. New merch is fire. It really is, guys. I have not seen many complaints about the Clippers' new rebranding and what they've been able to do. It is impressive. I got the alternate C compass thing going on. This is probably my favorite hat. I got the blue one too. But, red's been gone for so long. I just love it. Mio said, you saw how they did Wade dirty on his statue?
God, it's
Yes.
terrifying.
Even producer Katie saw it.
Hold on, I gotta mute you real quick.
She doesn't even care about basketball. Ray says it's pretty fugly. Mir said, stay hydrated, get the fluids in, my guy. You're right. I've been living right the last couple of weeks.
Come on, Adam.
I had a cold a couple of weeks ago. I've been drinking too much caffeine, diet soda. But things are going to change. I can feel it. No, I'm going to go to the store later tonight and load up. Ground beef and fruit and water.
You can drink water out of the sink.
I don't drink water out of the sink.
No, I said you can.
Not in LA. You better not.
You're fine.
Oh, it's fine?
It gives you some minerals. Vitamins and minerals.
I need the stupid.
Are you doing coach or highlights first?
Highlights.
Okay, that's what
Highlights then coach, guys, coming up in 3 minutes.
And with that,
Ray's player to watch prediction. He said, I'm thinking Team Man will have a bounce back. Perhaps I'm thinking the same thing. MKXLNT said, Double A back and doing work. What up, Clipper Nation? What up, MK? Oh, I have to go. We're starting in 2 minutes. Welcome into Clippers Countdown, where your LA Clippers are back in California, but not quite home yet, as they're making a stop in Norcal for a San Francisco treat, you could say, where they get to visit the greatest shooter in NBA history in Steph Curry, whose Golden State Warriors are 2-0 so far this season and currently have outscored their opponents by a combined 77 points through 2 games, while attempting 49 threes a game and splashing them in 41% of the time. So the Clippers' gritty defense will be tested once again after yesterday's challenge, where they needed an offensive explosion from Stormin' Norman Powell, who stacked up a mile-high amount of points, you could say, down the stretch in the fourth in Denver.
Finds Norman Powell, curling around the screen, shovels to Zoo, right back to Norm, dribbles to the left hand, attacks the baseline, gets fouled, banks it in, they're going to count it! Plus the contact. Gophers out, rebound Norm. Into the left corner, he's wide open. Triple, yes, Norman Powell rattles it in. Right corner, Norm, a 3. Got it, Norman Powell, all cords, a team high 25. To Batum, swings it, Norm, right wing 3. Oh yeah, Norman Powell and Fuego. Norm's open, drives by Murray into the paint. Euroing ready, floater, got the finish. Norman Powell. Crossing over on Murray with 10, gets to the rim, floats it up, off the window and in. Norman Powell is stuck on automatic. Looking for a slither of space, throws it to Coffee, finds Norm, right angle, a 3. Yes, Norman Powell, can you believe it?
Norman Powell outdueled the reigning MVP in Jokic in the fourth with 22 of his 37 points coming in the final 9 minutes as the Clippers got their first win in epic fashion with a clutch 109-104 victory over the Nuggets in a place they hadn't won in almost 4 years. Here was Coach Lue postgame on how big it is to have someone capable of filling it up like Norman Powell.
Yeah, no, it's huge. I think to pick up some of that scoring load with, Kawhi being out, it's huge. I think, it's shown James that, other guys can also score the basketball, so you have to put the pressure on himself every night to score 30, 35 points. And, I thought Chris Dunn coming off the bench did a great job defensively, making a couple three threes, and then Amir was good as well off the bench, So, like I said, we got to do it by committee. Every night could be a different person, but when you're sharing the basketball and playing the right way, it could be anybody's night.
The Clippers will need more guys to step up and contribute on the second night of a back-to-back, where Coach Lue might have to go deeper into his bench with some tired legs out there. Tip time from Chase Center in San Francisco between the Clippers and Golden State Warriors is just about 57 minutes away. Coming up here in the pregame show, Coach Lue will be here. We'll also have Joey Lynn on from SI Now. But up next, it's your radio voice of the Clippers and Carlo Jimenez as you're listening to the Los Angeles Clippers Audio Network. Clippers up in Norcal taking on the Golden State Warriors. Welcome back in. I'm Adam Osland. This is the official pregame show for your Los Angeles Clippers. It's Clippers Countdown. Still to come, you're going to hear from the head coach and Tyronn Lue. But first, joining us from Chase Center, it would be your radio voice of the Clippers and Carlo Jimenez. Carlo, how we doing? Good to see you.
Adam, we're doing great. We're doing so good. Can't believe I'm talking to you 2 days in a row. Oh, my goodness. Life is good. Here in the Bay Area, where the Clippers are trying to get it done on a back-to-back after what I would call their grittiest win and best win of the year.
Yeah, bold prediction or bold statement there from Carlo Jimenez. First victory of the season, obviously, last night in Denver, a place they hadn't won since Christmas of 2020. They came through 109-104 was your final score, but the final guy in the final period that was making all those big buckets would have to be Norman Powell. He outscored Nikola Jokic. Jokic had 17 points in the fourth. Not bad. But Norman Powell had 22 of his 37 in that final period and was just unbelievable going at Jamal Murray over and over again, the Clippers exploiting that matchup.
Look, I can't use the words that Michael Malone used in his post-game press conference, but I think they're pretty accurate if you want to go check it out. Norman Powell was the reason the Clippers came away with a victory in that game. 8 for 9, as you mentioned. He was so good. Adam, even the last 3 he took, he pump fakes. His body's turned sideways to the rim. His right hip is the closest thing to the iron, and he somehow puts it down with a sweet, sweet swish. Norman Powell just so good for this Clipper team. A guy who has needed to step up, who has led them in scoring in the first quarter in the first 2 games, gets his 18th 30-point game of his career. And I don't think, Adam, that's going to be the only one this season. Norman Powell seems primed to have a big year offensively for this group.
I think it was a big comeback victory also by the Clippers, who were down by 4, down by 3 late in the ball game after what happened where they were up by 9 late at Into a Dome against the Phoenix Suns earlier in the week, just to bounce back and prove that, hey, we can close out. James Harden knocking down big free throws, and it wasn't like the Denver Nuggets ever went away. I think they had 33 points in the fourth quarter. They played a great game, but the Clippers were just a little bit better and continued to fight and battle, and that's something maybe they needed to prove to themselves a little bit early in the season, and that can build up that reservoir of confidence as you move along here.
Yeah, I mean, I think you're on point, Adam. There's something that you'll hear about when you hear the word grit is you got to go through experiences to build that grit that you can then lean on later in life. And it's the same thing with basketball. The Clippers go through an experience where they have an 18-point lead. Everything is going their way. That lead gets erased. All of a sudden, you're down 7 with less than 5 minutes to go in the fourth quarter, and you somehow find the way to come away with a victory. The Clippers played their best basketball when they needed to. I think, Adam, how important is it to flip the script on the Phoenix game, a game in which you were up 10 down the stretch, in which you gave away the lead and then lost in overtime? The Clippers being the team to come from behind, not only does it show they learned from that Phoenix experience, but also early in the year to already have those 2 games under your belt, you're going to bond a lot with your team. Guys are going to understand their roles late in games, and I think everybody is starting to find their niche, their groove in this Clipper group.
Feels like they've already been through so much in just 2 games already. But when you take on KD, Booker, and then Jokic, and of course Jamal Murray, and you get a victory in Denver, a place you hadn't won in almost 4 years, it's meaningful. And we talked about it pregame, we talked about it during the game, but we felt like the Clippers were trying to make Jokic more one-dimensional. Surely after the game, it was Coach Lue confirming that, saying, yeah, we were going to let him score, but not let the others get going. The game plan worked. Now Denver, and Jokic still had 41, and the Denver Nuggets were right in it. But that's exactly what you have to do against those multiple dynamic superstars, an MVP 3 times over and a finals MVP. You just can't let them do everything out there, and I thought the Clippers did enough to limit the damage.
They really did. They really did. Look, Justin Russo tweeted it out, so we got to give credit to him. But the Denver Nuggets were 14-2 at home when Jokic scores 40. 14-2-0 when Jokic scores 40, and the Clippers got that 3rd loss on the record book for the Nuggets. He was excellent, but Ty Lue and Jeff Van Gundy, I don't know what they got in those back rooms of the office, what they're cooking up here in late night on a back-to-back, on a plane, on a bus. It's working. I mean, those 2 guys have found a way to shut down Nikola Jokic. When you think about his impact on the game as a whole, Adam, Denver still shot nearly 40% from 3 in that game, something that they admittedly said they were not a strong suit shooting the 3 ball, yet the Clippers were able to come away with a victory. I think it's one of the best examples how this team could find success, and shows really the strength of this group, Adam, being able to come back from behind, get contributions from everyone. Amir Coffey and Nico Batum, they didn't score. They led the team in plus-minus. Chris Dunn gives you 3 threes off the bench. I mean, up and down, seemingly everyone played a great game for this Clipper team.
And then back with the starters, really starting things off, it was James Harden with those 7 assists in the first quarter. And I just like the attitude he's had the first 2 games of this season, where it looks like he's trying to make sure everybody gets touches, everybody gets involved early to get that rhythm. And then James Harden can have his, 9 points in the fourth quarter against Denver, where he starts to assert himself a little bit more on the offensive side while still getting Norman Powell involved. But really a beautiful display of just everything James Harden can do to control a ball game on the offensive end.
Yeah, there's a narrative, Adam, that James Harden is not the Houston James Harden right now. Well, can get a bucket anytime he needs to, James Harden, that's for sure. And so when you see him distributing on the offensive end, 7 assists before even taking a shot against Denver yesterday afternoon, he's clearly able to manipulate the game in ways I don't think the Clippers have had a point guard in their recent history who's able to manipulate the game that way, set the table for his teammates, and when they need him to score, goes and gets a bucket. Harden has a lot of tire, not a tire. He's got a lot of tread on those tires still, but he has played 40 minutes on Wednesday, 38 minutes on Saturday. Interested to see where they try to keep his minutes here on the second night of a back-to-back. You do have 2 days off coming up, but every minute he's been out there has been a positive for the Clippers.
Vita Zubac was matching the minutes of Nikola Jokic. He ended up almost at 40 in the ball game, had 24 and 15, more than held his own once again against Jokic. That has been a theme the last couple of seasons. Vita Zubac has been the best defender on him. Now Jokic still got his 41, went for a career-high 7 made three-pointers, but Big Zoo made his presence felt on the offensive end, and they were really finding him, especially when he had a mismatch going up against Sarge and some of the smaller guys on Denver.
Yeah, I thought he was so good at getting to his spot and not rushing. It felt like Ivica Zubac was comfortable. He knew where he had to be with James Harden, and those two, as the season continues to go along, I thought it was really funny. But post-game, Harden was told, hey, Zubac hasn't had a back-to-back 20 games in his career, and Harden, with a wry smile and his eyes in the corner, said, oh, really? I wonder why. Were his exact quotes. Why? Well, because James Harden sets the table better than anybody else in the NBA, and Ivica Zubac is taking full advantage of that. You mentioned it all offseason, but after that, they signed that extension. Felt like Ivica still had more to go. The ceiling was a little bit higher for him, and we continue to see that growth. Again, love to see him perform well again today, because this is a Golden State team that maybe doesn't have a traditional five like Denver that can go body to body with Ivica Zubac. Feels like he's going to have to continue to dominate. There's a reason why the Clippers are plus 38 in the paint through their first two games. It's because Big Zoo's doing big work.
See if he can get his third straight 20-point game here to start off the season. Carlo Jimenez is up north from Chase Center. Clippers taking on the Golden State Warriors. Tip-off just about 47 minutes away here on Clippers Countdown. Coming up next, we got to let Carlo go. He's got his one-on-one conversation with the head coach and Tyronn Lue right here on the Los Angeles Clippers Audio Network.
With you wherever you are on the iHeartRadio app. Back to Clippers basketball.
Clippers and Golden State Warriors tipping off just about 44 minutes from now up at Chase Center. Welcome back in. I'm Adam Moslem. This is Clippers Countdown. Still to come, we'll get to your player to watch, and we'll also go back in time in Clippers Rewind to a pretty famous comeback the Clippers had against the Golden State Warriors a few years ago. But first, we head back over to your radio voice of the Clippers in Carlo Jimenez.
Thanks so much, Adam. Carlo Jimenez here with head coach Tyronn Lue before the Clippers take on the Golden State Warriors. Coach, Norman Powell's talked about being aggressive early in games. Last 2 games, he's led your team in scoring after the first quarter. Why is it so important for him to be aggressive?
We need to get him going early. James gonna have the ball in his hands a lot. We're gonna play through Zoo a little bit, but it's important to get Norm going because he can score in bunches. And so that's why we always run the first, second play for him and try to establish him early so he can get a rhythm.
I know it's early, but you guys are top 5 in the NBA in points in the paint. What's been the key to having so much success in that area?
I think, having the mindset to attack the basket, get to the rim, make a play for your teammate. And we still can do better, but it's early in the season. But that's been our mindset, getting to the paint. If you can't score, then kick it out for threes or drop it out to our bigs. But we want to attack the paint every single night.
Denver was 14-2 when Jokic scored 40. You guys come away with a win. You're now the 3rd team to get a win when that happens at home. Why were you able to execute despite his outburst offensively?
Yeah, we knew, like I said, Joker can score at all 3 levels. He's a great passer. But we wanted to take away his playmaking ability and make him a scorer. And, he made 7 threes, which, MVP can do that on any given night. But we just said that, we want to take away his passing ability. We want to take away because he loves to get guys involved. He loves to get guys shots, dunks, and threes. And so we got to do a little bit better job next time we play him, getting back to him when he's popping. Like Zoo has to do a better job of just trying to get back and making it tougher. But overall, we just want to make him a scorer and not a passer.
Last one for you, Coach. Amir and Nico didn't score, but those guys were both your best players in the plus-minus. How do they affect the game so positively despite not scoring the basketball?
Well, just playing the game the right way. Like, they're not complaining about shots. They're not worried about shots. They're just great connectors, and they bring us a great lift defensively. Amir and Nico, they can guard 1 through 4, 1 through 5 at times. And so what they bring defensively, and then just ball movers and connectors, and sometimes you need those guys on the floor.
All right, thank you so much. Best of luck.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Coach Lue there pregame with Carlo Jimenez as we get set for the Clippers taking on the Golden State Warriors from Chase Center up in Norcal. Tip-off just 42 minutes away here. I'm Adam Osland. Coming up next, we're going back in time in Clippers Rewind right here on the Los Angeles Clippers Audio Network. Clippers still on a road trip before they return on Wednesday back to Intuit Dome. Tip-off from Chase Center as they take on the Golden State Warriors is just about 38 minutes away. Coming up, we got Joey Lynn on, plus we'll get your player to watch. But first, we're going back in time in Clippers Rewind Over 5 years here to April 15th of 2019. Top of the box office was Shazam. I think there was a sequel. I didn't see either. It was supposed to be good, and they were really building out that DC universe. Now everything gets a restart again. On the radio was the song Old Town Road by Lil Nas X with Billy Ray Cyrus, one of my favorites. And the Clippers were at Oracle Arena in a playoff series with the Golden State Warriors and orchestrating the Clippers, that is, the greatest playoff comeback in NBA history.
Crowd on their feet. Can the Clippers come away with a basket here? Lou Williams moves to his left, finds a seam, drives the lane, puts it up, and in with the right hand. Oh my! 31 for Sweet Lou. 125-121. Lou Williams is radioactive. Whistle, offensive foul, and it goes on Durant. 121 to play. It's a 2-point game. Durant is gone. Lou's at the foul circle, at the foul line, moves to his left. This is for the tie. He put it in. 128, 105 to play. Jay goes down the lane, right side to Shemet for three in the lead. Hot damn! 133, 131, 15 seconds to play. Timeout, Golden State. Klay Thompson fires a three. It's in the air. It doesn't go. Oh my goodness. The Clippers have overcome a 31-point deficit and win game 2 in Oracle Arena. Wow. I do not believe what just happened. The game is over and the series is tied.
Yeah, I had to put the Hans Zimmer Last of the Mohicans music on for that one. Oh yeah, Hans Zimmer now has done the Clippers theme. Nice little connection there. 31-point comeback. Largest ever in postseason history. Sweet Lou Williams had 36. Trez had 25. Gallo had 24. And of course, Landry Shamet, the huge three laid off the pass from SGA. And the Clippers would win 135-131 in game 2 against Golden State back in 2019. Clippers taking on the Warriors tonight at Chase Center. Tip-off just about 36 minutes away. Up next, your player to watch right here on the Los Angeles Clippers Audio Network. Right till I can't no more. Tip-off from Chase Center is just 34 minutes away. Clippers taking on the Golden State Warriors. Welcome back in. I'm Adam Osland. This is Clippers Countdown, the official pregame show for your LA Clippers. Still to come, we got Joey Lynn coming on from SI Now and your injury report. But while we have a moment, let's pause 10 seconds for station identification here on the Los Angeles Clippers Audio Network.
LA Clippers basketball. AM 570 KLAC Los Angeles, 98.7 KYSR HD2 Los Angeles, and iHeart radio station.
Also, we'll get to your look around the league, but first.
This is LA Clippers basketball.
Watching this guy play right now is really something.
Players to watch.
Spent a lot of time last night defending the honor of Terrence Mann, who, yes, had a bad game yesterday. 0 of 4, 0 of 2 from 3, wasn't playing down the stretch. I thought he was solid in game 1 against the Phoenix Suns. He had 8, 4, and 5 assists. I think he was 4 of 6 from the floor. His defense was good, even though he got into foul trouble. There were some ticky-tack bad calls against him. But you can make the argument he's had one bad game so far in 2 games total this season. But some people in Clipper Nation are already calling for his head. Take him out of the starting lineup. He should be the backup. Here's what we need. Terrence Mann to look for his shot and to stay aggressive and play great defense in this one. He'll be matched up at times against Steph Curry, against Buddy Hield, some really good shooters that are shooting the ball really well right now. But taking him out of the starting lineup after 2 games seems like a little bit of an overreaction, guys. Terrence Mann, my player to watch. Coming up next, we'll get to your injury report right here on Clippers Countdown as we're 32 minutes away from tip-off up at Chase Center in Norcal. Clippers and Golden State Warriors, and you're listening to the Los Angeles Clippers Audio Network.
Wherever you are on the iHeart radio.
We them boys. Clippers and Golden State Warriors tipping off just 29 minutes from now at Chase Center. Up next, we got Joey Lynn coming on the show. But first, let's get to your injury report quickly. It's brought to you by Prize Picks. Download the app today and use code KLAC to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks, run your game. Still out for the Clippers, Kawhi Leonard, Mo Bamba. Don't believe Trenton Flowers is available. Golden State Warriors are healthy and ready to go this early in the season. The Clippers will be tested on this second game of a back-to-back after a big win in Denver, 109-104 yesterday. Up next, Joey Lynn from SI Now, right here on Clippers Countdown. You're listening to the Los Angeles Clippers Audio Network. Clippers up north, taking on the Golden State Warriors before they return to Intuit Dome on Wednesday. Welcome back in. This is Clippers Countdown. I'm Adam Moslin. Still to come, we'll get to your NBA look around the league. But right now, join the show is our guy, Joey Lynn from SI Now, the original bearded wonder. He's a Chase Center. He was in Denver yesterday at Ball Arena. He's all over this team, and he is a Biola grad, and he's rad. Joey, what's up, my friend?
Adam, we're enjoying ourselves out here. It's been a fun start to the year. We're going to chill on the travel for a little bit. I think it's, 3 straight home games and a quick little one-game road stop before coming back home. But it's been fun. I've been enjoying myself out here on the road.
How important was it for the Clippers to pull through in the fashion they did in that win in Denver yesterday?
Well, incredibly important because I think a lot of people have hit on it already. These are going to be the kind of games that the Clippers are going to find themselves in this year. I think they have the defense to keep them in a lot of these games with some teams that maybe on paper have more talent. Then it's going to come down to who can execute better down the stretch, and that's something that we saw the Clippers do well. Not perfect in that game in Denver, but they did it well enough in order to get the win against a good team.
Yeah, it was a big victory. They hadn't won there since Christmas of 2020, and Norman Stormin Powell, taking the reins in his new opportunity now without Paul George, with Kawhi Leonard out for now. We knew they would need more from him. I didn't know he'd have 22 in the fourth quarter like he did once before up in Portland for the Clippers, one of his first games, I think, there. But this is somebody that can fill it up. Is he the most direct line to just being able to replace some of the production lost from Paul George? Is this the way?
From a scoring standpoint, absolutely. Obviously, Norm isn't going to do quite as much in his all-around game. I think they've really been challenging him defensively, and he's taken on that challenge. I think he's been better on that end to start the year. We know Norm is not going to be a playmaker. So I actually did say, though, before the game today that he kind of wants to see that be the next element of his game offensively, is making those around him better. It's just not something we've really seen him do throughout the course of his career. Not that he's incapable. It's just not really been the role that he's found himself in. But Adam, to answer your question, yeah, absolutely. He is probably the most pure scorer on this team. When you talk about a guy who can just get to it offensively and go and get you a bucket, he's their guy in that starting lineup. So I think you've seen that. He's ready for that role. He told me after the game, he said, this is what I expect for myself every single game. So this is certainly not something that a moment that's too big for him. This is something he's ready for. And really, we saw it last night in Denver.
There's a minority of Clippers fans that are not the biggest fans of Ivica Zubac. The majority
Still
love him. Well, they may be converted after the last couple of games, or they're just in shambles and being too stubborn about it to admit that Zubac is him. He's a made man. He's getting a huge opportunity. He has made the most of it. Back-to-back 20-point games for the first time in his career with the Clippers now. I believe you talked with him post-game in the locker room. How important do you think it is for Big Zoo to get off to this quick start this season?
It's huge, but I don't think it's that surprising either. We saw it in the playoffs not that long ago. This is something that a lot of Clippers fans knew he was capable of. Zoo knew he was capable of this. His teammates knew. He just was on a team the last several years where, it's hard to say why would they go to him, because I think a lot of us have been screaming for that. But when you look at the players that they've had on this team, it's just not, he wasn't high on the pecking order. And now he's in a spot where they need him to be. And he's absolutely ready for that. And you saw it the last couple of games. And Adam, I think this is the standard for Zoo now. I don't think people should be surprised by this. I don't think people should really expect anything less from him. This is the numbers have been there for him from an efficiency standpoint. The volume just wasn't there. So I think really once the touches went up, this was inevitable, and you're seeing that play out right in front of everybody's eyes.
And he did so against Nikola Jokic yesterday, who still had 41, and Coach Lue said post-game Zoo could have done a little bit better of a job getting out on some of those threes. Of course, he went for a career-high 7 made threes against the Clippers. They survived anyways, partially because it was James Harden dishing early on with 7 assists in the first quarter, finished with 16 of those. Do you think there's a mindset from him where he's trying to get everybody else going early on, and then he has that chance to maybe try to take over late? Obviously, it was still Norman Powell, but he still had a big bucket, a jumper over Aaron Gordon, knocked down some clutch free throws, and maybe he can conserve some energy with scoring the ball later in ball games and getting everybody else involved early.
Well, I think James is one of the most unique players really in NBA history when it comes to this exact topic that you're bringing up right here. And it's something he's mentioned. He's been intentional about mentioning this since he's gotten here, that he has the ability to really on a dime flip that switch and go from distributor to scorer or back to distributor. It's something that we saw, I think, fully on display in that game yesterday. He was getting his teammates involved early, like you said, 7 assists in the first quarter. And I think we saw it in the Dallas playoffs a lot as well, where he was trying to get his teammates involved. But once he realized that obviously Kawhi was out and maybe PG was time for him to step up to the floor. So it's not just a game-to-game thing for James when it comes to deciding what the Clippers need. It really is quarter to quarter, maybe possession to possession, where he realizes, okay, now it's time for me to be aggressive offensively, or now it's time for me to find my teammates. And I think we saw him do that at a really high level yesterday.
We've been having a conversation since post-game yesterday, the last 12 hours or so, just discussing the starting lineup. Some people are already getting on Terrence Mann after really one bad game. I don't think he was bad outside of getting into foul trouble against Phoenix. I think he was solid. He was all right in that one. But some want to see Chris Dunn in the starting lineup because he hit 3 threes yesterday. He started hot from beyond the arc. And Terrence does need to be more aggressive and look for a shot. That's something we talk about a lot. But 2 games in, Joey, do you think that's a move the coaching staff would even consider at this point?
I'm not asking Ty a question about rotation until at least 10 games. I mean, and that's what he's told us over the years. He says 10 games is kind of the sample size that he looks at. I think he's even expanded that a little bit in recent years because the Clippers have had so many moving parts. I think it's difficult to get a real feel of what you need when you have guys in and out. It's a little bit different this year because they know Kawhi is going to be out for an extended period, but at least 10 games are going to go by before I think we even see some changes to the bench rotation, right? Because I think that's another thing some fans want to see, and I understand, right? Like guys want to see Jordan get a chance, guys, want to see some other players get opportunities, but 2 games into the season, you're not going to see Ty make any drastic changes, certainly not to the starting lineup, and even more so with a guy like Terrence who he trusts, and it really is, Adam, you hit on it, but it really is just confidence for him, and it's being aggressive, it's looking for his own. I think he kind of, and I get it, he thinks of himself as a glue guy, and he is a really high-level glue guy, but now with the way things are set up for the Clippers, they do need him to do a little bit more and look for his own in that way. So that's certainly something that Terrence knows, and Ty will continue to remind him of.
With this being their second game, first back-to-back of the season, and the second half of that back-to-back, do you expect any changes when it comes to minutes with the starters, with James Harden, and just trying to make sure they don't burn him out early in the year?
Well, they're definitely mindful of this. It's a question that I asked directly before the season started, and Ty said they're having these conversations. But Adam, it's tough. You can have those plans. You can get into the game and think you know exactly where you're going to keep a guy, and then all of a sudden you're down to the wire in Denver, and you need James to go a little bit longer than you thought you may have before the game started. So it's definitely something they're keeping an eye on, but you also can't really account for how the game is going to go. So to answer your question, yes, they're aware of it. They've mentioned that they're aware of it. They're also trying to win games. Ty's been very open about that as well. He's not here. He was asked the question the other day, how do you kind of balance development and, chasing wins? He's like, we're here to win games. So that's the emphasis right now. That's the focus, and they're going to find a way to preserve James for the veterans long-term.
How big of a test is this for the Clippers defense? Second night of a back-to-back, and Golden State has almost been averaging 50 three-pointers attempted through 2 games.
This is a good team. This is a good Warriors team. They've started off better than I expected them to. And, it's funny to hear Steve Kerr talk about trying to get more threes up, right? Because you think of this Warriors team and Steve Kerr as kind of the godfathers of this new era of NBA basketball. But I think they've even saw that maybe pass them up a little bit. Now they're trying to get back to it even more so. So it's been funny to hear that, but they have the personnel, and they're doing a great job with it. So the Clippers are going to have to be focused. That's the word that Ty Lue talks about a lot. When playing this Warriors team, you have to be focused. You take the possession off, you lose Steph, now all of a sudden that snowball gets rolling, you're in trouble.
Joey Lynn is up at Chase Center up north with the Clippers. They're taking on the Golden State Warriors. At Joey Lynn with 2 N's and an underscore at the end is where you find him on X. He's a beat writer for SI Now. Joey, my guy, polished, perfect analysis as always. I appreciate you.
Pleasure as always, Adam. Thanks so much for having me.
Coming up next here on Clippers Countdown, as we are just about 17 minutes away from tip-off, Clippers Golden State Warriors, and we will get to a league look-around right here on the Los Angeles Clippers Audio Network.
You're listening to LA Clippers basketball. Take us with you wherever you are on the iHeartRadio app.
Clippers and Golden State Warriors tipping off just about 15 minutes from now from Chase Center. This is Clippers Countdown. I'm Adam Osland, Coming up, we'll get back to Carlo Jimenez, but first, your drive around the league. It's brought to you by Toyota's electrified lineup, including hybrids, plug-in hybrids, all electrics, and even fuel cell electric vehicles. So you can choose exactly the type you need for your lifestyle. We make it easy. Earlier in OT in Indiana, Tyrese Maxey, without Joel Embiid, without Paul George, led them to victory. The Philadelphia 76ers would win 118-114 as Maxey had 45 in their overtime victory over the Pacers in Indiana. Currently with 6 minutes left in Brooklyn, it looks like the Nets are about to get their first win of the season. They're up 101-86 on the Milwaukee Bucks, and Giannis Antetokounmpo, who does have 19, 12, and 7, but Dennis Schroeder, fresh off a great run with Germany at the Olympics, 26 points and 6 assists, and the Nets lead by 15. Late fourth quarter in Portland, Trailblazers on their way to getting their first victory of the season, and they're up big on the Pelicans, 118-95. Jeremy Grant with 28 and 4 blocks. CJ McCollum with 27 and 4 steals. But the Pelicans are about to drop to 2-1. The Blazers will improve to 1-2. Portland will visit Intuit Dome on Wednesday. Coming up next, we got Carlo Jimenez from Chase Center. Clippers and Golden State Warriors tip-off just 13 minutes away. You're listening to the Los Angeles Clippers Audio Network. Wow. Clippers taking on the Golden State Warriors up in Norcal from Chase Center. Welcome back in. I'm Adam Oslin. Tip-off just 10 minutes away. We're rejoined by your radio voice of the Clippers in Carlo Jimenez here. Carlo, tell me about this Golden State Warriors team, because they're taking almost 53s per game so far through 2 against, granted, 2 of the lesser teams in the Western Conference. They're also shooting 41% from distance in those 2 games. And I think Buddy Hield's at 75%. Are they leaning more into shooting from the outside than ever?
They are playing with a deeper team than ever, Adam Oz, on a 12-man rotation that Steve Kerr is going with. And you mentioned it, they didn't play the best teams in the West, probably 2 of the worst teams in the West to start when you take on Portland and then Utah. But their point differential through 2 games in the NBA is an NBA record. They are plus 77 through 2 games. And Adam, we want to talk about all the great numbers through the 2 games, but the one that sticks out to me, that they've had the most points from their bench in 2 contests in the franchise history. The Warriors are getting on average about 70 points a night from their bench group. That second unit is doing a lot of work, and Steph and Draymond have yet to play in the fourth quarter. They have absolutely dominated so far to start the season. This, their home opener, really their first test against a team that's gunning for a championship like the Clippers. So interested to see how those things change. Almost an opposite scenario. The Clippers have gone through fire and come back alive. Meanwhile, Golden State has kind of walked the red carpet to start the year.
Yeah, it makes this game all that much more intriguing. The Golden State Warriors in this starting lineup, outside of Steph Curry, everybody's 6'7" or above. I didn't know they'd play this big. What have you seen from these guys?
They're a group that crashes the glass more than anybody else on the offensive end. Tyronn Lue talked about it earlier today, that this is a Warriors team that is going to attack the boards every time they have an opportunity. They want to get extra possessions, and they want to play fast. This is a team trying to play a little faster on both ends. Similarly to the Clippers, they want to speed things up. I think that Steve Kerr talked about it pregame, but something that was funny that he mentioned, they feel like his group's way more connected than they were at this time last year because they were able to have that training camp in Hawaii and spend some good time in that Hawaiian air. And so they feel like that's bled over into these first two games. And, well, the score wouldn't dispute that. They've clearly had a great start to the season.
Yeah, these teams faced off in Honolulu. And actually, in that game, there was an interesting move made by Coach Lue where he started Chris Dunn. It wasn't Terrence Mann in the starting lineup. It looks like T-Man is in the starting lineup for this one, but do you expect Chris Dunn to play heavy minutes? Because Coach Lue said, I wanted to see him against Steph Curry. Well, now it counts for real in the regular season.
I think you're going to have to, Adam. Steph Curry has 258 threes against the Clippers. It's the most threes by a single player against a single franchise. For whatever reason, Steph Curry has made the most threes in his life against the Clippers. When it comes to one team, he has dominated. So you know that's going to be assignment, and we'll see if the Clippers are able to get a hand up to Steph Curry to force him to be uncomfortable. Similar to Nikola Jokic, sometimes there's only so much you can do, but for the Clippers, can you make Steph Curry one-dimensional? That probably is going to be the key coming into this one. It seems to be the key every time Tyronn Lue takes on one of these superstars, one of the top 6 guys in the league that have led their team to a championship in Steph Curry.
Speaking of Terrence Mann, there's been a conversation about him within Clipper Nation over the last 12 hours or so. Should he be in the starting lineup? Through 2 games, we're already talking about that. I discussed it a lot. I think it's much ado about nothing right now. You can't pull a guy that fast who just started 71 games last season next to James Harden. James seems to be comfortable with him in the backcourt. I understand when Kawhi Leonard comes back, then there's something to talk about. But right now, I just want to see Terrence Mann be much more aggressive out there, Carlo, because he didn't look for his shot enough, I think, in Denver.
Yeah, and look, you're not going to change the routine in the opening act of the season for this Clipper group. There's just no need to do that. Terrence Mann has proved that he's an excellent piece. His depth and repertoire on the offensive end, his ability, he's built more stock up than to be pulled after 2 games. There's no doubt about it. So for the Clippers, Terrence Mann finding his groove, figuring out where he fits in. This is someone who's seen as a connector for this team, Adam. He's got to understand how he can best affect the way they play basketball before maybe you see that aggressiveness that we expect out of something like Terrence Mann.
First back-to-back of the season. Clippers are on the second night of that. They're taking on Golden State. Do you think it'll be Coach Lue going deeper into his bag and deeper into his lineups? Will we see Bones Highland or Jordan Miller? Or will some of the younger guys just get a little bit more run out there, and maybe Nico Batum, guys like maybe James Harden, they don't play quite as many minutes?
Yeah, I mean, it kind of has to be. It doesn't feel like you could give James Harden 40 more minutes tonight. Nico Batum, Ivica Zubac with 39 more minutes tonight. The Clippers have to figure out a way to be able to use more of that bench depth. I would love to see somebody like Jordan Miller get into a ball game. Kai Jones is going to have to play more than the 4 minutes he played in Denver. The Clippers are going to have to go a little deeper on both ends, and the question will be for them, who's going to contribute? Now, Nico and Amir didn't score last game. That's going to have to change today against Golden State if you want those guys to be able to relieve James Harden and Ivica Zubac.
So Terrence Mann is my player to watch. Who do you got for the Clippers tonight, Carlo?
That's a great question, Adam. I think, my player to watch. I'm going to go Derrick Jones Jr. I think Derrick Jones Jr. has been talked about as being a point of attack defender. He's been excellent at making sure he's knocking down threes for this Clippers team. He's hit a 3 in the first 2 games of the season, shooting 3 for 6 from the field from outside the arc. and he has to be effective in this one, not only on the offensive end, but Buddy Hield is somebody who and Steph Curry are two players who are playing so well right now for Golden State. He needs to chase those guys around, make them uncomfortable. You mentioned it, Buddy Hield, 12 threes through the first 2 games with this Golden State team. That is a record, by the way, for the most ever threes through 2 games with a franchise. So the Clippers need to find a way to make it tough for those 2 snipers.
One Splash Brother out, one in for the Golden State Warriors. Now with Buddy Hield as Klay Thompson is in Dallas. It would be Carlo Jimenez up at Chase Center in Norcal in San Francisco. Clippers taking on the Golden State Warriors. Tip-off is just about 7 minutes away. Coming up, we'll get your keys to victory right here on the Los Angeles Clippers Audio Network. Clippers taking on the Golden State Warriors from Chase Center. Let's get your keys to victory as tip-off is just moments away here. The Warriors, as we've talked about here on the pregame show, are taking almost 50 threes per game so far. You may have to run them off the line a little bit because they're also knocking down those threes at 41%. That is very efficient. You aren't winning a ball game if a team is hitting 25 threes or more, or over 20 threes in a game. It is far too difficult. You can't let them shoot you out of the gym. Clippers might also have to try to match them a little bit and take a few more three-pointers in this one. But that perimeter defense is going to have to be on point from the get-go. That means not just Terrence Mann, not just Derrick Jones Jr., but guys like Norman Powell and James Harden and even Ivica Zubac at times on switches will have to be better at that point of attack and also just on the exterior from 28 feet out or 26 feet out, however far Steph Curry wants to shoot it from. All right, here we go. It's Carlo Jimenez on the call. Clippers and Warriors from Chase Center in San Francisco, and tip-off is coming up next right here on the Los Angeles Clippers Audio Network.